Cyprus, a pivotal region in a complex geopolitical landscape, has never been far from the attention of intelligence communities. Throughout the 20th century, especially at the height of the Cold War, it earned the moniker Island of Spies. Espionage driven by political and economic motives, the gathering of military intelligence against the backdrop of the Middle East and the Eastern Mediterranean, and the territorial rivalries of foreign intelligence agencies all contributed to a captivating narrative on this island in past decades. And the Mossad had too much at stake to not be involved. Mossad, Israel's national intelligence agency, has woven a complex narrative of operations in Cyprus, a strategic island steeped in historical ties to the region. Its activities in this locale are driven by a multifaceted mission, gathering intelligence to monitor regional threats, particularly from adversaries like Iran and Hezbollah, while also engaging in counterterrorism efforts to safeguard Israeli interests. Beyond espionage, Mossad has sought to strengthen diplomatic relations with Cyprus, fostering collaborations that address mutual concerns. Historically, the island has also played a vital role as a transit point for significant missions, including the relocation of Jewish refugees. In this intricate landscape, Mossad's presence underscores its commitment to navigating the challenges of the Eastern Mediterranean, a region marked by both opportunity and peril. The full extent of Mossad's activities in Cyprus remains largely unknown. However, this video highlights two instances where Mossad agents were caught red-handed. On the evening of April 23, 1991, at 9:50 p.m., a police patrol conducted a routine security check at the Embassy of Iran in Nicosia. During this check, officers discovered 4 individuals attempting to tamper with an open cabinet that housed the telephone wires essential for the building's communication systems. The suspects were found in possession of various tools and a replica of a small radio, indicating their intent to interfere with the telephone wiring. Upon noticing the police, they quickly abandoned several tools and, when questioned about their presence, claimed they were looking for a restroom. A subsequent search of 2 of the suspects revealed a folding pliers and a small flashlight. Further investigation at the scene uncovered additional items, including another replica radio, a soldering device, a wire cutter, and wires with connectors. Moreover, a search of their accommodations in Limassol revealed more tools. The names of the suspects were Dambi David, 40 years old, kitchen technician; Ran Souf, 33 years old, agricultural machinery technician; Dolzin Anna, 28 years old, student; Armin Litvin, 28 years old, waitress. The suspects had managed to smuggle 2 radio replicas into the embassy's telephone network room, intending to intercept confidential phone calls. Following a thorough investigation by the police, it was revealed that these seemingly harmless devices had been transformed into powerful transmitters, allowing anyone to easily send messages undetected. Telecommunications experts from the Cyprus Authority discovered that at least 2 lines in the embassy's telephone cable box were connected to foreign wires, confirming that a serious breach had occurred. However, the outcome of the case was not as expected. It was treated not as a matter of espionage, but rather as a simple issue involving foreign nationals. The court, in its ruling, stated that the defendants abused the hospitality extended to them by the Republic of Cyprus, which allowed them temporary entry into the island. The court is not called to punish the defendants for the final goal of their actions, as there was no basis to establish a charge that would reflect those final goals. Instead, it must impose a sentence on the defendants strictly based on the facts that constitute the crime to which they have pleaded guilty. The agents were released shortly after standing trial in early May, where they pleaded guilty to trespassing at the Iranian embassy with the intent to commit a felony, resulting in a fine of $1,000. They had been free on bail since May 2 and were residing at the Israeli embassy, which had posted their bonds, provided them with defense counsel, and covered their fines. Upon their release, the operatives were rushed out of the country. On the morning of Friday, November 6, 1998, 2 Israeli men arrived in Cyprus aboard Cyprus Airways Flight 429 from Tel Aviv. They rented an apartment near a fish restaurant in the seaside village of Zygi, just 200 yards from a National Guard's camp. Interestingly, they had chosen the same apartment where they had stayed a month earlier during the Kiphoros, the largest military exercise of the National Guard, which took place from October 15 to 22 and involved the Greek Air Force and Navy. A significant portion of the exercise unfolded in the broader Zygi area, previously considered as a potential site for a naval base. Early in the evening of November 7, the police began monitoring one of the 2 men after receiving a tip-off from Panikos Christodoulou, a local restaurateur, who had seen the 2 men twice before and became suspicious, prompting him to alert the authorities about their unusual activities. The man moved from the apartment to a nearby tourist complex, made a call from a public phone booth, and around 8:30 p.m., he and an older companion stepped outside to observe a convoy of the National Guard passing through the area. Having identified the suspect's residence, the police rushed to obtain a search warrant for their apartment, knocking on the door shortly after midnight. The 2 men, identified as Udi Hargoff and Eagle Damery, names believed to be aliases, were apprehended. Inside the apartment, the police discovered 2 high-tech frequency scanners, a laptop, hard drives, floppy disks, and GSM mobile phones. They also found tourist maps marked with various locations, many coinciding with sensitive military installations across the island. When caught, the only thing recorded on their tapes was a conversation among police officers discussing the collection of a fine. During their interrogation, the 2 agents insisted they were teachers on holiday, and claimed to be technology enthusiasts in an attempt to explain why they were in possession of the equipment found in the apartment. However, their claims did not convince the authorities, who eventually ordered their detention. The arrest of the 2 Israeli agents occurred just 3 days after the official visit of the Israeli President Ezer Weizman to Cyprus, where he had assured Cypriot President, Glafkos Clerides, that there was no threat from the military cooperation agreement between Israel and Turkey. The prevailing theory was that Mossad had information regarding the unloading of weapons at the port of Basilikos and sought to determine whether these were components of the Russian S-300 missiles Cyprus had ordered from Russia. Cypriot officials feared the Israeli operatives might have been gathering intelligence for Turkey, with which Israel had close military ties. Another theory, based more on speculation than concrete information, suggested that the Israelis were interested in American-made weapons possessed by the National Guard. The Cypriot press also speculated that the 2 agents were searching for locations where French Exocet missiles were stored. In contrast, the defense argued in court that the Israelis were members of an anti-terrorist unit, observing what was described as a meeting of informants regarding a planned international attack. On February 1, 1999, Damery and Hargov were convicted, receiving 6 months in prison for possession of prohibited electronic devices and 3 years for approaching a restricted area during a military operation. However, the 2 agents remained in Nicosia's central prison only for a total of 6 months after a presidential decree ordered their release on the condition they would be barred from Cyprus for life. Around 6 in the morning on August 12, 1999, an embassy vehicle waited outside the prison to discreetly pick up the 2 agents who boarded the car and, accompanied by security personnel, were taken to Larnaca Airport. At the airport, the 2 Israelis boarded a private Beechcraft King Air 90 jet and at 8:03, they departed for Israel.